So you just came back to Picasso just from the experience of Einstein?
No, Matthias Herndl, who is the lead cinematographer on in this series, Genius 1 and 2. I'm his usual camera operator, his A camera, steady cam operator. I've worked with him for, I don't know, 6 years, almost exclusively, and I've known him for back when he was a gaffer, so I've known him forever. And so he just brings me along to every show. I always do second units, episodes of different shows we're on, what have you, that he lets me DP. And when this opportunity came up for the second part of this Picasso, they gave him one to direct, a block to direct. So they said, Ryan, you're up to bat. Finish off the show. So I went and was a DP for the last half of the show. And I tried to keep his look, the same for the whole thing. And plus, when he shows up as a director, he obviously makes sure that happens as well. But yeah, for the most part, I just kind of emulate his style when it's his show, like any good alternating DP should. For all you out there.
What kind of discussions, or did you have any discussions with him beforehand?
Not really. No, we kind of don't even have to talk anymore. Yeah,
it's so intuitive.
Well, you do. You kind of, you're like brothers, right? And you just, he knows. I know what he likes. I know what he would do. And half the time, he just lets you run with it. He just make the right decisions.
Well, like he did establish such specific visual cues for the show because in the past timeline, it's a lot of like handheld scenes. It's it's very dynamic because it's young Picasso, a lot of movement, and then in old Picasso timeline, it's very still, like a painting.
Yes.
So, like, did you at all want to bring like your own take to it, or was it more about maintaining what he already established? Like, is there
no, it was a good idea. Like
just keep it going.
No, and plus it's just gonna you're gonna essentially screw up the series if you start changing it halfway through, right? So keep it going, keep it running. Why deviate when it's working great? It looked awesome, right? So it was tricky to do the very still, painting type shots and whatnot. And
what does that entail? Is it just like
just trying to find the right lens that will work? Sometimes you want to almost work backwards, developing the shot, especially if they want like from far to close. Yeah, it's tricky, and it sometimes can be limiting to the actors. We try not to make it limiting, but
because the camera doesn't follow them.
No, can't move the camera.
Yeah.
Right?
But it works because it's like a painting. It's like everyone is coming into frame.
Totally. No, it can work really, really well. Yeah. No, it was a great idea, but it could be very tricky. And the pace we move on that show, it sometimes was quite hard, but we pulled it off, and still with like 10-page plus days and 3 cameras and whatnot, still, yeah, we pulled it off. So it's a testament to, Ken Biller, the creator, showrunner, everybody buying into it and realizing, hey, you know what, this is a pretty good idea, and it worked great, and it looked good.
It did. Yeah. By the 9th episode, though, the timelines are converging almost, and Antonio Banderas is playing both Picassos in both timelines. So how does that affect the way you shoot when one timeline is catching up with the other one?
Yeah. So then we morph back into mainly the handheld, feel. So the still kind of stuff kind of went away, and now the timeline went back to our, we're dollies, handheld, steady cam kind of feel.
Was that easier for you a little bit, or?
Well, yeah, because you just, if somebody does a lean, like a natural move or whatever, you can just you go with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just, but I wasn't operating by then. I would take the camera out of my operator's hand sometimes, and they didn't like that. But yeah, sometimes that's what you got to do, because sometimes it's hard to articulate exactly what like Matthias wants.
Let me show you what I want.
Yeah, let me show you, because I just don't have the language to be able to explain exactly what I need and want, because you know what, it's going to change depending on what the actor wants to do with that take, right? So sometimes you just have to just feel it. you know. So
The show covers so many time periods, like
mm.
turn of century Spain, and it's in so many exotic locations like Paris, Saint-Tropez. So, what were the challenges of making the most of each space and location?
I think the biggest challenge we had was trying to have warm weather in like February in Budapest. That
How did
was
you accomplish that?
we went to Malta.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that was tricky because yeah, so much of its life was spent in like southern France and whatnot, and we did. We had to go shoot a bunch of scenes. I think every block was shot. Part of it was shot in Malta. So not all 5 directors came back, but yeah, I think a piece of every one of their blocks was shot in Malta because we needed that nice warm weather. And luckily, we lucked out. We got pretty good weather in
Mother
Malta.
Nature was good to you.
Yeah, because Malta that time of year was ugly sometimes. So yeah, it wasn't it's not like the Caribbean where it's just gorgeous every day. Yeah, so or LA.
In the 7th episode, Picasso is painting a dove at the end of the episode for like his symbol of peace.
Yep.
And when he's in his studio, there's more light than usual coming through the windows, and then there's his dad's painting of the pigeons
Yep.
framed in the background. So how did you compose that shot?
Well, that studio, we usually pumped hard sunlight from the one side there, let everything kind of fall off on the other side, and just always just try to visually find the best wide, and then work from there. You know, it sometimes you can't explain it. It's just like that's the best shot, right? No matter how it's blocked, no matter what, that's the best shot. And we'd always just try to find and make the best shots that worked for the narrative, but also that visually were beautiful.
Yeah, because it was
So
just like beams of sunlight coming in, and then it's like the
yeah.
painting in the background, like watching over him.
Yeah, and we had an amazing production designer, great crew, and all of that helps so much. Like, the best friend of a cinematographer is a production designer, and when you have a great production designer, like so that helps tremendously.
There's a really cool shot in the 9th episode when the camera is pulling back, and then it reveals like it's pulling out of a camera lens, and it's a Renoir film.
Oh yes, that's
So
right.
how did you do that?
We essentially dollied back towards the camera and then did another shot of pulling out of the eyepiece, and then they kind of stitched the two together, if you will, going through the camera. But pretty simple. It just
looks hard.
It looks hard. Exactly. But no, it was relatively.
Was that already in the script? Like it was.
No, I don't think so. If I recall, no, I think that's just Matthias. And that's what makes him such a great director too. Is that all the years being a cinematographer and seeing what all these other great directors do, you learn so much by osmosis, right? You just, if you pay attention on set, it's amazing how much you can actually learn. And but nowadays with iPhones, it never happens. But yeah,
can cheat themselves.
Yeah, no, but it is. He's a smart cookie, and he's an amazing cinematographer. But now he's amazing director. The guy can do it all. It's really fun watching him work. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have all these years with him. So,
what do you think? Would you say is the biggest thing you've learned from him?
Probably speed and knowing what scenes to really kind of take the time, to do, and other scenes just, we need to just get through this because if we don't, it's going to kill our day. Just being in TV, you just have to be so efficient with your time.
Was there an instance of that during?
There's always every day, but
which one were you just like, I have to move on, I can't like dwell on this?
I can't think of the exact scene because honestly, there were every day, like when you get handed this much stuff, right? You just have to work through it so fast and so hard. Yeah, it's just that's part of TV. Yeah, but he, he's taught me just so many things. The thing I like about him most is just trying to light from the outside so that the actors and camera operators just have freedom. If they want to start walking over to that corner, well, you can take them over to that corner, and you're not going to get slapped because it still looks great in the corner, right?
They can continue to act.
They can continue, exactly. Because you know what? Sometimes, even though you block out a scene and you put marks down and whatnot, a lot of the time, what's taking them, the narrative is sucking them over there for some reason, and those marks are totally gone, and now it's happening over there, and that was great, and we're moving on, but they didn't hit the marks. Who cares? It worked.
It's actors. They do whatever they want. Yeah.
Exactly. No, and a lot of people don't. They're still stuck in this kind of like film mentality. Like, you didn't hit the mark. You didn't. Well, you know what?
It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you have a good focus puller. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Right?